Still talking about what Eve can teach us, the lessons that we learn from Eve. Are you learning some lessons from Eve? She can teach us a lot. So we're still talking about Genesis 7 and how when after sin and after disobedience, I want to read this again. The Bible says, so they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. The last lesson we dealt with the fact that once sin comes in, then we become naked. And not just us, others become naked. Then we see other people in their naked form as opposed to how God sees them, covered with the glory of God and out of the eyes of love. And so that's what happened. They could no longer see through the spirit, and they only saw through the flesh. So they were immediately beginning to cover. But this is what is interesting also in that verse. They made coverings for themselves. Women of God in particular, you got to be careful about what covering you make for yourself. Do you know that when you decide, we know that the Bible says when a man finds a wife, that he finds a good thing and he receives favor from God. But you still have the decision on what covering you accept over your life. Please don't forget the fact that you choose the head that rules over you. You actually choose your king. Don't make a covering for yourself. Make sure that the covering that you choose for the rest of your life is a covering that God ordained for you. And we're not just talking about husband and wife. We're talking about ministries. We're talking about spiritual parentage. Do you know it's dangerous for you to make your own covering? And look at this. See, most of us, I might get in trouble now, but most of us, just like Eve, when sin has come in our life and disobedience, what do? You go and find another covering for yourself. And you're making the same mistake instead of staying with the covering that God ordained, the covering from the Spirit, and not the covering from your flesh or from your offense. Let's get back in a little while about the lessons that Eve can teach us.